On day 166, what I'm going to do is I'm doing the communion and offering meditation at church tomorrow. I'm going to do the offering portion as part of my video today in preparation for tomorrow. So to get started, I'm going to read from 1 John chapter 4. We'll read verses 16 through 18. It says, "And so we know and rely on the love of God has for us. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God, and God in them. This is how love is made complete among us, so that we will have confidence on the day of judgment. In this world, we are like Jesus. There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love." Okay, so that message in 16 through 18, there in 1 John chapter 4, it's a message that tells us that God doesn't just have love, but he literally is love. And when we live in that love, and when we reflect on it, and we show it to others, it's proof that we're living in God. So if we think about that, especially that line there specifically where it says, "In this world we are like Jesus." I don't believe that's just random words thrown together. I think that's a calling for us to embody. Like, in this world we are living like Jesus. And if we think about how Jesus lived and think about what he gave, like what are those things? Like, what did Jesus give? When you break that down, he gave everything. He gave his time to the people that were forgotten. He gave his compassion to the hurting. He gave his strength to the weak. And he ended up giving his body. He gave up everything. So I think the question for us in our pursuit to living like Jesus is, what do we give to? Like, what do we give to as humans in this pursuit of trying to be like Jesus? And I'm not just talking about on the offering plate, but like day to day with our schedules and our energy and our hearts. Because as I've gotten older, I realized eventually in my life that very simply, like, we just give to the things that are most important to us. We give to the things that matter the most to us. Like, we may say we love God or value people or we care about the community. We might say all of those things, but I believe that our calendars and our priorities and our giving, that often tells the truth. That often speaks the most clearly about your priorities. So I often ask myself, like, what gets my attention on a week-to-week basis? And where does my time go? And more importantly maybe than that is, like, what do I give my best self to on a daily basis? My first fruits. And here's the encouraging thing is, like, when we choose to live lives of intentional love and generosity, something pretty cool happens is we do start to begin to look more like Jesus. And when we start to look more like Jesus, we start to pursue him, we really do start to see that fear fall away. And we're still human. We're still going to have fear and possibly some anxiety and other things because we're human. But I think that was what John was meaning about the fear falling away there in that part of the excerpt that I read is, there's no fear in love. Perfect love drives out fear. Because I think when you're focused on giving love and serving others and walking closely with God, it becomes really hard for fear to take hold in your life. What kind of fear? Like fear that we all experience, fear of not being enough, or fear of failure, or fear of what's going to happen next. Because what happens is love starts to overwhelm those feelings of fear when you're pursuing love. Because in that place of love, if you can achieve that, you are just not holding on tightly. You're giving freely to others. And that brings freedom when you're giving freely. So in closing, as we prepare for offering, and when you take offering tomorrow, I would encourage you to think about your life of giving, and for me to think about my life of giving, and ask ourselves the questions: is it generous? Is that life generous? Is it rooted in trust? Or is it gripped by fear? Fear of not having enough time or resources or control. And I think we just always need to remember, like, we don't give to get something from God, but we give because God has already given everything to us. And in response to that, we live lives of love that pushes fear out of the way. Day 166.